Welcome to A Moment of Zen. Time to sit back and relax as model, actress, mentor, and supermom Zen Sams takes you on a sexy and wild ride, covering the latest in film, fashion, pop culture, cryptocurrency, fintech, cannabis, and entertainment from the millennial mom's perspective. Here's your host, Zen Sams.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. Welcome to our 137th episode. It's always such a pleasure to spend my time with you on the airwaves. Thank you for listening and interacting with me on social media. That truly does make it all worthwhile. I read everything and respond to each and every one of you. Please make sure to follow me at Zen Sams. That's Zen with an X, not a Z. Also remember that we're live Sundays at 1 p.m. on Traverse TV, and all episodes, of course, are now streaming 24/7 on Kathy Ireland's Your Home TV. You can also find us directly on our YouTube channel at Zen Sams. Very exciting show for you today. In America's favorite pharmacist, brought to you by Mary Ruth's Organics, we'll be joined by our newest and weekly contributor, pharmaceutical expert Phil Cowley. Phil's an influencer and a pharmacist that goes by the handle Phil's My Pharmacist, with over 2 million followers on social media. He joins me today sharing his thoughts on Matthew Perry and America's silent killer addiction, or what they call substance use disorder. Is it silently killing you or a loved one? Definitely tune in to find out the symptoms, the cursors, the precursors, and the cures. In our Music Madness segment, brought to you by Imaginative Media, we're featuring Mitchell Godwin, all the way from South Africa. Mitch is set to release his first international release on all streaming platforms in 2024. He joins me live in studio today at WOR in Midtown Manhattan with his manager, Manny Mijares, founder of Imaginative Media. They join me to chat about music, leveraging your network, and what talent really means in the wonderful world of fine-tuning and artificial intelligence. We also have a treat for you today. A surprise visit by one of our past Music Madness guests, Stefan Benz, is popping in with some holiday excitement, chatting charity, his new holiday single, and the importance of giving back. In our Going Deep segment, brought to you by CO2 Lift, today I'm joined by our returning contributor, beauty expert, and industry trailblazer, Lana Kerr, CEO and founder of CO2 Lift and Lumisk Skincare, and the skincare industry trailblazer, Sharlena Hassani, owner and founding esthetician of Artisan of Skin in Beverly Hills. She's known as a celebrity skin trainer, and Posh.com has referenced her as the Kardashian-Barker facialist. Quoted, Sharlena's hands have also graced the faces of Bella Hadid, Kaia Gerber, and Naomi Campbell's goddaughter, Adwoa Aboah. Today, they join me to chat all about holiday skincare and gift ideas, what your favorite celebrities are using, and how CO2 Lift is revolutionizing the skincare industry. Stay tuned for America's favorite pharmacist with Phil Cowley chatting the late Matthew Perry and America's silent killer, substance use disorder and addiction. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Your Home TV.
Hi, this is Kathy Ireland here on A Moment of Zen, brought to you by Your Home TV. We've developed an all-inclusive subscription-free network that you're going to love, whether it's financial freedom, fashion, beauty, health and wellness, wonderful weddings, travel and culture, cooking, entertainment, and short-form documentaries, programming for everyone. Classic films and new shows, including Kathy Ireland Presents American Dreams. We've developed this network just for you. Please check out yourhometv.com.
Tune in to A Moment of Zen, Saturday nights from 9 to 10 p.m. on WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Joining me next in America's favorite pharmacist segment, brought to you by Mary Ruth's Organics, we'll be joined by our newest and weekly contributor, pharmaceutical expert Phil Cowley. Phil is an influencer and pharmacist that goes by the handle Phil's My Pharmacist, with over 2 million followers throughout social media. He has over 20 years of experience, owns and runs Cache Valley Pharmacy in Logan, Utah. He's passionate about educating people on how to make informed decisions about their health and well-being. He's also known for his ability to make even the most complex medical information accessible and entertaining. He joins me today sharing his thoughts on the late and dearly beloved Matthew Perry and America's silent killer, addiction, or what they call substance use disorder, SUD. Is it silently killing you or your loved one? Whether it's a problem with alcohol, opioids, cocaine, or any other substance, addiction kills thousands of Americans every year and impacts millions of lives. Addiction, or SUD, is a chronic mental health condition because it affects the brain's normal functions, and SUD compels someone to repeatedly use substances or engage in behaviors even though they have harmful consequences. Addictions can destroy marriages, friendships, and career, and even threaten a person's basic health and safety. Welcoming now to the show is our pharmaceutical expert at hand, Phil Cowley. Welcome to the show, superstar.
Hey, thank you very much.
So let's dive right in. So could you share your thoughts on the tragic loss of Matthew Perry and the impacts of long-term addiction on individuals like him who have been in the public eye?
You know, I actually read his memoirs and his autobiography. He tried to get off of drugs 70 times. 70 times he went into rehab. He kept on trying over and over again. I think that really highlights how these individuals under high stress who've had a problem with substances in the back struggle so much to get off of this stuff.
Listen, the loss of Matthew Perry is a stark reminder, Phil, of the devastating effects of addiction, but particularly for those in the public eye. And the relentless scrutiny and pressure can be, it can exacerbate the struggle, making recovery even more challenging. I mean, almost 21 million Americans have at least one addiction, yet only 10% of them receive treatment. That's about 25% of people who use illicit drugs develop an addiction. So the numbers are staggering. Now, when we're talking about neurobiological perspective, which changes caused by addiction concern you the most and why?
Well, it's the mutated feeling towards all of our emotions and our lust for life and all of our energy. So we overuse our dopamine pathways. And dopamine is the drive to get things accomplished. And once you've overused a dopamine pathway, the brain starts to downregulate some of the receptors. And it makes it so the person can't even feel normal without the substance. Then if you take someone like Matthew Perry, who week after week after week has to be on and has to be beautiful and has to work so hard, or Robin Williams is another great example. The stories of Robin Williams, he'd go on stage, he'd be bigger in life, all the dopamine would be flowing. And then the second he got off, he would totally crash. And year after year of that continual dopamine being used, your brain and your body starts to change. And they don't feel normal without it.
You're totally right, Phil. And when you speak of neurobiological, the most concerning change is the rewiring of the brain's reward circuitry, leading to a compulsive cycle of substance use despite negative consequences. In fact, 24% of people with a drug disorder have an opioid use disorder. And in 2020, the federal budget approved for drug control was nearing $35 billion. These numbers are staggering, Phil. Something definitely has to be done. Now, in what ways can substance-associated cues become triggers for substance-seeking behavior, and how can this be addressed?
Well, there's three stages to the addiction when it comes from pharmacological standpoint. The first one is obviously the basal ganglia, which is the first intoxication. And with those, you just try to get them through that. The harder part is both the positive and negative results of it. So when we work with the amygdala, you get this negative result, which are all the withdrawal effects. And you start feeling like, if I don't have this, my life's going to get worse. You get the stomach aches, you throw up, you feel awful. But then you also get the positive reinforcement up to the prefrontal cortex. And so that combination of feeling bad and knowing where you can find the good from is really the hard balance you have to make, because you have to rewire the brain that you already rewired. And over time, they show even a short-term substance abuse problem up to 3 months can change both the size of the amygdala and change the way that you respond to dopamine and serotonin.
It's so interconnected. Wow. And substance associated cues can trigger cravings by activating the memory circuits in the brain linked to substance use. So, addressing this, to your point, requires a comprehensive treatment approach, including behavioral therapy and, in some cases, medication, of course, to reduce cravings. About 9.5 million Americans who have a substance use disorder also have a mental illness. So, it goes hand in glove. I mean, it just
I
does.
And I think that number's low. I think anybody that has a substance use problem has some sort of a mental disorder. Most people who use substances don't use it to feel euphoria or high. They're using it to feel normal. Most of them have major anxiety disorders and they've had major issues with connecting with people, and this allows them to have it. So I think it's everyone with a substance use problem has some level of mental disorder that needs to be treated by both therapy and in some cases medications.
Yeah, to your point, that's exactly right. Now, how does long-term addiction, Phil, reduce the sensitivity of the brain's pleasure or reward systems, and what are the implications for recovery?
Like any other machine, when you overheat it continually, the circuits start to get fried. And it's not just where you're overusing the machine, it's not just the camera. What happens is that we start to lose some of the receptors and the sensitivity of the receptors, both in the brain, cardiovascular system, the lungs. So we have what's called oxidative stress, because when you're in a fight or flight situation, and even if that's just induced by medications, you're going to start burning out sections of your brain. And that goes with any substance, from cannabis to caffeine to alcohol. And once you've started to burn those out, our body has a hard time remaking them. So you need to protect everything from oxidative stress. Even if you haven't used that substance in years, you've aged your body, your brain, your lungs, your heart substantially from all that oxidative stress.
Addiction's dampening effect, you're right when you talk about the oxidative stress, but the dampening effect on the brain's reward system, right?
Oh, yeah.
Often leads to a reduced ability to feel pleasure from normally enjoyable activities, which can persist during recovery, necessitating, of course, a long-term support system. But I mean, listen, it all begins in the brain. Now,
Yeah.
can you talk about, since we're talking about being proactive here and talking about how to put our best foot forward in such a dark area. Could you talk about the potential benefits of olive extract and Mary Ruth's antioxidants for someone recovering from addiction? Because I know you're a big fan.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of all the olives and the olive extracts because they allow to help protect any of the epithelial tissue that you find inside of like your cardiac tissue, your lungs. It helps even with some of the skin effects because although you talk about Matthew Perry, and Matthew Perry, he actually quit using drugs because he had such a dampening effect. He wasn't getting anything out of it anymore. And that's a very complicated component to fix from that dampening effect. He wasn't feeling anything from anything, and it just got to the point where he just quit using it. That takes such a long period of time. When you add olive extract, though, it helps protect your cardiovascular system and your lungs. You'll find a lot of the people who were addicted for long periods, they're dying early of heart attacks, they're dying early of strokes, they're dying early of asthma-related effects. So it's really important that we're treating the whole body. And the olive extract, especially the stuff from a really good source like Mary Ruth Organics that's made here in the United States, will help that oxidative stress throughout the body while you're working so carefully to try to get your brain right.
I couldn't agree more. Olive extract and antioxidants, like particularly those from Mary Ruth's, without a doubt, may support recovery by combating oxidative stress and inflammation. Of course, inflammation, because that's common in long-term addiction. So that's an important one. Now, can you explain the heightened activation of brain stress systems due to addiction and how this affects an individual's well-being?
Yeah, so when you have that huge push of dopamine, you're also looking for that massive release of both serotonin, epinephrine, norepinephrine. And we'd like to think that when we get this huge excitement that everybody's dancing and you're ready to act and go and the light goes on, that it would just stay in one place. But what we know is stress kills. And it doesn't matter if it's chemically induced stress that releases the epinephrine and norepinephrine, which then causes all the oxidative stress and all the changes in blood. But it can be chemically or naturally, that stress will always catch up to you.
Without a doubt, addiction is going to lead to chronic stress responses, which not only worsen mental well-being, but also have, deleterious effects on physical health, increasing the risk of various diseases. So, yeah, you're right. I mean, you're the expert, but I'm totally agreeing. Now, can you recommend any specific supplements or supportive measures from brands like Mary Ruth, but not specific to them, that could assist in recovery from addiction?
So I'm a big fan of supporting our bodies because our bodies are going to get back to normal. And the more that we can support our bodies with the building blocks it needs to build norepinephrine and serotonin and dopamine, things like L-theanine and L-tyrosine, which are just a couple of amino acids. When you overload those, that gives the body all the chance that they need to. And then a little bit of velvet bean. I really do like velvet bean. It helps with the dopamine peripherally, which then in turn will help with inside the brain. And then ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is really a great one because there's the addiction potential is almost zero, but it seems to help people who have been through alcohol or any other substance. They helps them sleep at night, and sleep is really killer on these guys. If they can't sleep, man, the monsters come out at night and it kind of destroys them. So that extra help with the ashwagandha to help them sleep a little bit more has the calming effect, and some of the positive effects it has on the brain are some of my very favorite to use. And that helps them augment the therapy and the family love that it takes to get through everything.
I'm definitely going to check those out. I always knew the basic supplements that support brain health, such as, omega-3 fatty acids and amino acids like L-tyrosine and B vitamins. Those typically I knew would assist in the recovery process by supporting the neurotransmitter function and reducing oxidative stress. But what you just said is next level. It's a very holistic approach. And I'm definitely going to resort to some of those. Now, what role do executive control systems in the brain, Phil, play in addiction, and how does addiction impair their functioning?
So Matthew Perry, when he was talking about his autobiography, he actually said that they used an opiate on his gums when he was a child to help get rid of pain. So let's look at that one example. So he learned at a very young age, if he has pain, this substance will take care of it. Well, our brains want not to have pain. And so early on in his brain, he was looking for that substance. Then over time, every time stressors came up, the brain went, oh, wait, I know what to do with this. Let's go back to that substance. And that's because we see changes in the amygdala, the size and how it responds to things, and it sets up these new pathways. With the executive systems, in order to override those, you have to have constant positive reinforcement for the new activity. And you have to also reduce the negative reinforcement you get by not having it there. And that trick really becomes where the person has to know who they are and they have to make changes in their lives. If you go back to the exact same behaviors, your brain's going to say, I know what to do with this situation. And then the person falls back into the same problem. But of course they do, because their brain already knows what to do in that situation.
Yep, a system is a system is a system, and the executive control systems are crucial for self-regulation. Addiction can impair these systems, to your point, leading to difficulties in controlling impulses and definitely making it hard for recovering individuals to resist urges to use substances. So it's all interconnected. Now, we have about a minute left, but once addiction is in remission, Phil, how do these neurobiological changes alter the needs of the patient?
So even when they're in remission, the brain still has those pathways. And that makes it really hard because if you get into a situation, you should expect the same results. The hardest thing to watch with a patient is for someone to finally realize that addiction is with them for the rest of their life, and they have to make those changes forever because their brain will always go back to that same pathway. So over time, in order to fix that, you have to make changes and really stick to them. You can't go back to old behaviors, even with all the building blocks and all the work you've done. Underneath that all is that same pathway that says, if I go there, I will find peace or I will find less pain, even if it's a super negative behavior. So best thing to do is make sure you always know you support that person, you love that person, and don't let them fall back into anything at all. Help them stay away from everything that triggers them.
Oh, it's definitely about the support system. I mean, in remission, patients without a doubt are going to require a more robust and targeted intervention to really address the specific cognitive and emotional deficits resulting from these neurobiological changes. So the support system is absolutely critical. We are out of time, my friend. Thank you so much for coming on. It's always a pleasure chatting with you. I just learned so much. 14 minutes, priceless.
It's been awesome. I love this every week. I love it.
You are amazing. Addiction to any substance is a serious problem. So if you have addiction untreated, it could stop your life in its tracks, like we said. It's a progressive disorder, and its effects and severity will only worsen over time without treatment. Fortunately, there are many rehab facilities and recovery centers throughout the country. Anyone can get the treatment they need to achieve sobriety. Where there's a will, there's a way. So if you or someone you know is struggling with addiction and you need more information about what to do and where to start, contact a treatment provider today. Reach out to Phil's My Pharmacist. You can even reach out to me at Zen Sams on our social media. We're here to help. That was America's Favorite Pharmacist, brought to you by Mary Ruth Organic. That was our newest and weekly contributor, Phil Cowley. Phil, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you very much for having me.
Definitely head to maryruthorganics.com, or you can head directly to at Phil's My Pharmacist and at Mary Ruth Organics on the gram. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Your Home TV.
Hi, this is Kathy Ireland here on A Moment of Zen, brought to you by Your Home TV. We've developed an all-inclusive subscription-free network that you're going to love, whether it's financial freedom, fashion, beauty, health and wellness, wonderful weddings, travel and culture, cooking, entertainment, and short-form documentaries, programming for everyone. Classic films and new shows, including Kathy Ireland Presents American Dreams. We've developed this network just for you. Please check out yourhometv.com.
Tune in to A Moment of Zen, Saturday nights from 9 to 10 p.m. on WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm your host, Zen Sams, welcoming back to America's Favorite Pharmacist segment, brought to you by Mary Ruth Organic. We are chatting with our newest and weekly contributor, Phil Cowley. Welcome back, my friend.
Hey, thank you.
All right, so we're chatting Matthew Perry, addiction, sobriety, bouncing back, very, very heavy-handed conversation, but we're working through it here. And of course, knowledge is power. So let's dive right back in. So Phil, can you just, we just finished talking about once addiction is in remission, how do these neurobiological changes alter the needs of the patient? Thank you for that coverage. I'm going to move on to another important question that is something that no one really talks about. It's the concept of muting feelings and drive. So how does the stress of addiction and the resulting inflammatory damage impact the body systems, such as the heart, the brain, and the bowels?
Well, I always like to compare it to like a car. So when you take a car, you're driving 80 miles an hour down the freeway, you get used to that speed. So your brain gets used to that speed. And then as soon as you slow down to 55, you feel like you're barely moving at all. And so when you're barely moving out, that's the way your feelings feel. At first, you're all over the place. You're excited. Everything's moving. But when you slow down, even though all the feelings are there, your brain says, hey, I'm missing 30% of this. And that creates major anxiety inside of you because you're feeling like I'm missing something. I need something right now. I need it. I need it. And that's that feeling of anxiety that I'm missing something. Yeah. When you have that, your body starts searching for ways to get it. And that's anxiety then starts flooding us with epinephrine and norepinephrine because we're looking for it. So that not only is our body, the car got beat up because we went so fast for so long. Now it feels like it needs to work harder for it. And we start to release more and more stress type hormones, which then stresses out our heart, the lining of all of our vessels, our brains, even our lungs. Asthmatics are huge because of all that stress.
Yeah, the muting of feelings and a drive is a common consequence of addiction, with the body's response to stress and inflammation causing, of course, widespread damage that affects multiple organ systems. It's very scary. Now, how long do the neurobiological changes caused by substance abuse typically persist after the cessation of use?
You know, if you look at all the studies, they say between 1 and 10 years, but I really believe that it never really changes. When you talk to somebody who truly has embraced the fact that addiction is a disease that they have their lives, and you talk to them, they know they never get all the way better. And they know that because of that, a lot of the negative health effects they have came directly from the stress that they have. And so when you say the changes in the brain, that person is essentially always knowing that they've got that little monster with them, no matter where they go. The same way a diabetic always has diabetes with them, or somebody with blood pressure. You can do better for a while, but they know if they slip into any habits, it's waiting right there for them. And those people who admit and see that sadness, that true inside of them, you want to go out there and give them a big hug right away, because you can see that they've realized that is theirs for the rest of their life.
That is so true. So true what you said. And Americans, really statistically, between the ages of 18 and 25 are most likely to use addictive drugs. So that's scary that it's the younger, the weaker of the generation, right? Because that's truly the most impressionable time in their lives. Now, in terms of adaptogens and progressive techniques, what approaches do you suggest for treating ADHD and anxiety states post addiction?
Well, I tell everybody to push the fish oils really high. The higher the levels of the DHA and EPA you can get, the better you are. So I usually tell them to double and triple that DHA and EPA. DHA and EPA, especially on the younger brains, have shown to be able to rebuild brain tissue. Originally, we thought it was just when the pregnant women took the prenatals, but we now see it's all the way up to age 21. So you want to push that really high. I also really like 5-HTP. And the reason why I like that is if your serotonin is low, your body is seeking even more of the dopamine. And as soon as it starts looking for dopamine, it goes back to that pathway that we never want to go back to. So by establishing your body the right type of building blocks with the 5-HTP, it allows it not to look for that feeling of comfort you get from serotonin by going after negative pathways with the dopamine. And then I also really do like ashwagandha, especially for people that have had addiction issues or are struggling with addiction issues at night, because they seem to respond the very best to sleep with the ashwagandha and the GABA combination. And so you can tell what's going on or what type of insomnia they have by how they respond. And it seems like that high level of anxiety, ashwagandha helps a lot.
Definitely trying that one. And adaptogens, without a doubt, are going to help regulate the stress response and support adrenal health, which is extremely important. And of course, it's going to be beneficial in treating ADHD and even anxiety-related symptoms post-addiction. Right. So definitely on top of that one. We have two more questions here, a couple of minutes left. How should one approach the rehabilitation of brain chemistry and the overall care of the body after the prolonged stress response caused by addiction?
So if you buy a car that's been used as a rental, you know it's been driven hard. So you make sure you do all of the normal upkeep with it. Somebody who's been through addiction is like buying a car that's been through a rental program. You know that thing has just been driven into the dirt. So you need to make sure that you're supporting every part of that body in a higher amount. So starting early to think, how do I take care of my joints by using things like turmeric and making sure you're not overusing ibuprofen, because you're going to have a higher chance for arthritis. Taking care of your lungs by exercising regularly and making sure that your air's clean and that you make sure that your lungs are taken care of with some of the other supplements. But most importantly, it's that cardiovascular system. Addiction still kills people at about a 30% higher rate, even after they've gone into remission, because we've had so much oxidative stress on the cardiovascular system, and then because of that, high levels of stroke. So keep yourself in mind that if you've been through addictive processes, if you've been high level of substance use, your heart probably needs some extra help. And so start treating yourself as though you already have a heart problem when it comes to supplements. That's where the olive oil comes in and the omega fatty acids, because more than likely the epithelial tissue, the lining of the very inside lining of all of your structures in there has been damaged, and you're at a high rate for throwing clots.
Wow. Definitely awakening, eye-awakening stuff here, because people are struggling right now. So you're speaking to a huge portion of America. Now, considering that Matthew Perry had family members who also struggled with addiction, in what ways does familial history impact the risk and treatment of addiction?
My dad's got 6 brothers, so there's 7 boys in that family. And my mom has 3 siblings. 5 of my dad's siblings are very heavy drinkers. And then on my mom's siblings, all 3 of her siblings have struggled with substance abuse. So I'm going to tell you what I told my kids. We don't get a chance in our family to try stuff. We have to stay away from it, because we obviously have a predisposition for really liking substances, and that we have to figure out why they use those substances. So we watch very close. People's families who heavily use substances usually have high rates of anxiety and depression, and they're trying to self-treat. So not only do you want to look at the fact that they're responding in a way where they get very addicted very fast, it also usually means that there's a reason why all those family members are looking for it. And by treating that component, treating the whole patient, saying, okay, you're not the substance abuse problem, you're a mental health problem that's not being treated properly. You find a higher rate of success. And the earlier you do that with kids and family, the better success rate you have. Because if kids learn to treat themselves, that's where the problem is, because they don't have the life experience to say this is too far.
Wow. Took that one to heart. Yeah, definitely know some people who have been affected. So you're speaking directly to the ethos of what the segment is about, but also to what most people are struggling with. Now, without a doubt, familial history of addiction can significantly increase the risk due to genetic and environmental factors, like you said. And of course, that's going to require more tailored treatment approach that includes genetic counseling and family therapy, I would say. But for the most part, we just have to we just have to keep our eyes and ears open for our loved ones and be there to help people wean them off of addiction or help them when they fall off the wagon. But Phil, thank you so much for coming on. It was a pleasure chatting with you.
Yeah, I really appreciate being on here. I always say this is my one bit of advice for everybody. Love them unconditionally, but don't trust them because they can't trust themselves. And that is, you take those two things hand in hand with someone with addiction.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. That was America's Favorite Pharmacist, brought to you by Mary Ruth Organic. That was our newest and weekly contributor, Phil Cowley. Definitely head to maryruthorganics.com, or you can head directly to @Phil'sMyPharmacist and @MaryRuthOrganics on the gram. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut, 100% pure coconut water. Imagine a drink that's nutrient-rich, powerfully refreshing, naturally sweet with no added sugars, not from concentrate, zero additives, low in calories, absolutely no artificial flavors, and is so tasty that it will become your new favorite beverage. Enter Once Upon a Coconut, the absolute best tasting coconut water you will ever try. Available in 4 refreshing flavors: pure, chocolate, pineapple, and sparkling with energy. Do your taste buds a favor and pick up some today at onceuponacoconut.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up next in our Music Madness segment, brought to you by Imaginative Media, we're featuring Mitchell Godwin. Mitchell is making his way all the way from South Africa. He's now setting his sights on the U.S. market. Speaking 6 languages, this young talent is currently working with multi-platinum and Grammy award-winning producers. Mitch is set to release his first international release on all streaming platforms in 2024. His latest EP is called In Our Minds. It consists of 4 songs. He works with acclaimed music executive producer Manny Mijares. Mitch is now aiming for national media. Having founded one of the most modern-age PR companies in South Africa, Alpha Wolf PR, he utilizes his knowledge base and savvy socialite presence to imprint his cultural stamp on America. He joins me today live in studio right here at WOR in Midtown Manhattan, iHeart headquarters, with manager Manny Mijares, co-founder of Hit Music Partners, chatting about music, leveraging your network, and what talent really means in the wonderful world of fine-tuning and artificial intelligence. Welcoming now to the show are my superstars at hand. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you. Great to be here.
That was a mouthful.
Well, it's always a mouthful when you come on A Moment of Zen.
Absolutely.
All right, Mitch, I'm going to start with you. So tell the world who you are and where you're from.
Well, it's interesting. It was crazy getting to New York and seeing that the lights stay on all the time. That was probably the most exciting part for me initially. I'm from the land of partial electricity. It's a great place, South Africa. We have beautiful sunlight. That's most of the light. Look, it's a great place, great people. We have a beautiful phrase called Ubuntu, which is I am because you are. And it's just a way that we live by. So it's a great place to be, great energy to be around, but loving the USA at the moment.
I know someone else from South Africa. His name is Stefan Benz. Have you heard of him?
Absolutely.
Everyone in South Africa has heard of him, right?
You got to know it.
There you go.
He's the prince
of
Prince. Joburg.
That's right. So, Manny, what made you gravitate towards Mitch?
Well, actually, I found Mitch at an event very similar to how I first found Stefan Benz, which was a talent convention/competition. And he had this song that he wrote, and he went on and he was playing the guitar and singing the song. And I mean, I noticed him, but it was really his persistence that I think finally gave him the opportunity, because he would hit me up and call me and text me and message, and it was just perfect timing. I had a gap in my schedule, and I had been wanting to work with, someone that, could play instruments and was able to write songs and just kind of had his own thing going. So it was perfect time, perfect place, and we ended up getting to work together. He came out to LA for, I think, 2 weeks?
No, a month.
You were there for a month, but we worked. I mean, were we working every day or?
Close to.
Okay.
Yeah, every 2 to 3, I would say. Yeah, no, we worked every day.
So that's really when I got to know him a little bit better and got to know his energy, and really liked the fact that he was an entrepreneur and he had a PR company. And I thought that someone in the music space that understood marketing, because I also have a digital marketing and PR company, and so I think that doing some kind of B2B with his music was actually very interesting.
It's a great marriage. It fits very nicely, and it's unique and proprietary because most music artists don't have that entrepreneurial background nor skills. So I think this is definitely going to work to your favor and has been working in your favor. So Mitch, tell me, how did you get started? I mean, what specifically motivated you to choose this career path coming from the world of public relations?
So the music has been a part of my story since the very beginning. And, it started off, my mom told me about a time I walked into the store and found a keyboard at like 3 years old and started playing Twinkle Twinkle Little Stars on it from memory. And that's when she sort of said, okay, we got to try and get him into lessons. So I started piano lessons very, very young and moved over to other instruments and singing as I've grown older. And that's sort of how the music, it's always captivated me. It's been so much fun. And then I sort of slipped into PR. As a musician, that's the one big thing you need to be heard. And so I slipped my way into there. And we found a way that we could help people get valuable PR in a way that doesn't sort of impact the bank so hectically. So that's the first part. And then also moving into kind of a situation where they get the reach that they need as well. So the two were a perfect combination, me looking for solutions in PR and then
combining it with your artistry. I love it. It's a great story. Now, Manny, we've been talking about this before, but technology that facilitates the creation, the reproduction, and distribution of art is one way of describing generative artificial intelligence. And recorded music democratized access and brought it into the homes and hearts of those who could never have afforded to attend a concert or visit the symphony, so to speak. And music creators don't fear the reaper when it comes to AI. In fact, they recognize its potential instead, rather than put musicians out of work. I truly believe that artificial intelligence will allow more creators to make more music and explore sonic wavelengths yet unheard. What do you say to this? Are you a proponent or not?
No, I think it can be a tool that you use to your advantage. I mean, I had a discussion, I think about a week ago with someone, a writer who writes music but also writes film, and he was making the case of it being essentially cheating. And my argument was that, well, what did writers do before Google? You still have to research, you still have to look things up, you still have to kind of understand and use technology. You're using a computer, you're not writing it down in a notebook anymore. And with AI, I feel like it just gives you a little bit of an edge to get to the place that you would have gotten to anyways a little bit quicker. If you're, I'll give you a good example. I was writing a script, a short film about a month ago, and I asked AI, hey, this is what's going on, and this person goes here, I need a creative way to do. And although I didn't use exactly, I actually didn't use what it suggested at all, but it gave me the other idea.
Right.
So it's like having a second mind in the room that you can bounce ideas off of. And by the way, you don't have to give it 50% or 25%.
Exactly.
So I think it's a tool. I think it's how you use it. I think real creatives and real artists probably struggle a little bit with it. but I also think that it's the way you use it. And if you're, someone with integrity and you want to make sure that you're not, just ripping something off or putting something into AI and just using that idea directly, it can get there. But I think for most people, using it in a way that they can get to their idea quicker is going to be incredible.
Yeah, and when we talk about artificial intelligence generated progressions or sounds, it reminds me of when autotune hit the market itself. It's a form of AI, and that leverages math as a tool for creative production. And the use of autotune for its own sake was scorned until we saw how the human element elevated the tool to create art, right? So I'm certain music creators are soon going to make creative use of the AI tools available to them. And just like the Beatles themselves did the first song to feature intentional guitar feedback on I Feel Fine, right? I'm excited about the prospect of AI tools really lowering barriers to music creation across the globe, but increasing accessibility and thus the supply of musical talent, which is at the core of it all. Now, Mitch, who do you get your artistic abilities from, and who is your musical inspiration?
Definitely not from my family. They're very analytical people. I love them to bits. But yeah, it's a combination. And this, is sort of testimony to your AR statements as well. Everything comes from a whole bunch of, it's a cumulative value that gets added into everything. So certain artists, like in South Africa, Reinhard Burr, his instruments and his use of instruments are incredible. So he influences that aspect, especially with the new song coming out as well. We've pulled things from every aspect. So to call my inspiration from one area, it wouldn't really be super accurate. It's from multiple places. Now,
Manny, what makes or breaks an aspiring music artist?
I think it's persistence. I think it's absolute persistence. And I think, a mentor of mine taught me the phrase more is more. As long as you dogpile, as long as you keep putting content out and you keep exploring, you never know what's going to hit. You never know. You could write the most incredible song and it just doesn't take off, and you can write a song in 10 minutes. And a lot of times that's the case. The best songs are written very quickly, but it's after the hours of work that you put in, and after, writing up, which is when you work with people that have more experience than you, and you're able to listen and understand what, these other writers and other people that have the experience and have the hits are bringing to the table. If you can absorb, if you can always be learning and be persistent, I think that everybody will get their shot.
Well said. All right. Closing thoughts with you, Mitch. What piece of advice can you give to your younger self? I know you're still fairly young, but looking back in retrospect.
It would be not to expect things to work the way the pretty picture shows them to. I mean, just the way Manny and this happened this week to perform at Times Square. I performed earlier, and Manny hit me up at 8 o'clock at night on Friday, like, get here, get to New York. And that's 27-hour flights we had to prep for. So I think the advice I would give to myself and other artists is don't expect this pretty rainbowed version of everything. It comes around corners. It's not the way you expected, but the persistence, as Manny said, persistence just pays off. Just don't stop, because you don't know when the next miracle's coming your way.
Well said. And that's a wrap, my dear friends. Manny, thank you so much for coming on. Mitch, it was a pleasure chatting with you today.
Pleasure meeting you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Zen.
That was our Music Madness segment brought to you by Imaginative Media. That was the incredible Mitch Godwin, and of course, our dear friend Manny Mijares, co-founder of Hit Music Partners and founder of Imaginative Media. You could head directly to their website at imaginative-media.com, or you can also check out more of Mitch at alphawolf-pr.com. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut, 100% pure coconut water. Imagine a drink that's nutrient-rich, powerfully refreshing, naturally sweet with no added sugars, not from concentrate, zero additives, low in calories, absolutely no artificial flavors, and is so tasty that it will become your new favorite beverage. Enter Once Upon a Coconut, the absolute best tasting coconut water you will ever try. Available in 4 refreshing flavors: pure, chocolate, pineapple, and sparkling with energy. Do your taste buds a favor and pick up some today at onceuponacoconut.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up in just a few minutes, what a real treat we have right here at iHeart headquarters. My dear old friend Stefan Benz is stopping by in our Music Madness segment brought to you by Imaginative Media. Teen sensation or recording artist Stefan Benz is what we're talking about. And he's coming off his fresh release, I Won't Be Content. And of course, let's not forget his amazing debut on this season's of ABC's American Idol. Now, Stefan has been hailed by US Weekly as one of the hottest young rising stars to watch in music right now, as both a singer and songwriter. He joins me right now live in studio in Midtown Manhattan, chatting holiday music, charity, and the importance of giving back. Welcome back, superstar.
Let's go. We're back. Thank you for having me, Zen.
Let's do it. So, single holiday season produced by Jordan Omley. Station Little is the production company behind it. And for those of you who are not familiar, Station Little, to my understanding, is a kids animation series on YouTube educating kids through music. Talk to me about this partnership.
Yeah, so the producer that you mentioned before, his name's Jordan Omley, is actually a great friend of ours that I've done a bunch of the songs that I have out already with. And then when he asked us to work with him on this Station Little project, which is his brainchild as far as I'm aware, and he was really pushing that and really believed in it. And you know, we had to help him out with that. And I already did a different song with them called We Are Amazing. You know, we were talking about the educational aspect of it through the music. And then we decided this year it's time for a Christmas song, my first original Christmas song. As we were saying, we're partnering with Station Little to bring it to all the kids around the world. It's a positive song. It's called Holiday Season. It's about this holiday season. Everybody's just got to get along, and it's about, you know, the positivity that we spread among all the kids. And I just think it's a great message. I wanted to be a part of it, and I'm super grateful. My boy Lewis also at Station Little, and Jordan. Shout out to you guys. Thank you for thinking of me. I appreciate you guys.
Your mom must be so proud, Benz. Look at you coming here and paying it forward and working with the kiddos. Now I hear you're partnering with Toys for Tots on top of all of this. You're just paving the way, going where there's no path and leaving one great big trail, my friend.
Appreciate that.
You should be so proud.
Thank you.
What is your roadmap with respect to charity and giving back?
Yeah, I'm actually so excited. I mean, I feel like it's been one of the most important parts of what me and, you know, the rest of my team kind of talk about is us giving back. Especially, I come from South Africa, and there's, you know, a lot of underprivileged kids there, a lot of underprivileged kids everywhere. But I've seen a lot of stuff living where I lived, and I just really wanted to pay it forward, and now I have the opportunity to do that with something as simple as a Christmas song. You know, we release a positive Christmas song with, you know, our partners at Station Little, and we're able to help a great charity like the Toys for Tots. And we're helping them through a bunch of events and toy giveaways, and it's just really awesome to see. I'm super excited, and it's one of the most important things to me right now. Especially Christmas is one of my favorite times of the year for sure. I love Christmas, and I love the song we did. I love the cause, and I'm just excited for it. It's already out actually, so I need you guys to go listen to it. And
you guys are going to listen to it right after this episode. Thank you so much, Stefan. It was a pleasure having you in studio.
Always good to be here. Thank you, Zen.
You got it, my friend. That was our Music Madness segment brought to you by Imaginative Media. That was the incredible, the amazing, super talented Stefan Benz, currently on ABC's American Idol, this season 21. Of course, he's off of that now, paving his own way in his own career. What an incredible journey. Check him out on the gram at Stefan Benz Official. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
We've been through so many ups and downs. Now it's our favorite time of year. This is that holiday season. Thankful for so many reasons. We all need something to believe in. So in this holiday season, show a little love. You wrap it up in a bow. And know it's better to give, and I wanna live all day in the snow. This is that holiday season. We all need something to believe.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by CO2 Lift. As we age, our skin loses moisture and elasticity, causing wrinkled skin. You can reverse this aging process with CO2 Lift. CO2 Lift utilizes the powerful benefits of carbon dioxide to lift, tighten, and regenerate your skin. This simple, painless at-home Carboxy therapy treatment is scientifically proven to reverse the aging process. You will see reduction in wrinkles, increase luminosity, and improve pigmentation, sagging, skin tone, and radiance. For more information or to order CO2 Lift, go to CO2Lift.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up in just a few minutes in our Going Deep segment brought to you by CO2 Lift. Today, I'm joined by our returning contributor, Lana Kerr, skincare industry trailblazer and founder of CO2Lift.com. She's joined today by Sharlena Hassani, owner and founding esthetician of Artisan of Skin in Beverly Hills. She's known as a celebrity skin trainer. And of course, Sharlena has spread knowledge about skincare so her clients can achieve and maintain healthy, clear, and youthful skin over and over again on social media. Through her years of experience, the Artisan of Skin team, they've built an incredible clientele ranging from celebrities and models to moms and teens. In fact, Posh.com has referenced Sharlena as Kardashian-Barker's facialist and quoted, Sharlena's hands have also graced the faces of Bella Hadid and Kaia Gerber. Today, they join me to chat all about holiday skincare and gift ideas, what your favorite celebrities are using, and how CO2 Lift is revolutionizing the skincare industry. Now, Christmas might be the last thing on your mind with fall finally here and Thanksgiving around the corner. But as veteran holiday lovers know all too well, the festive season sneaks up on you quickly and without much warning. That can be overwhelming, especially when it's time to start picking out presents for every person on your list. Well, you're about to experience a revelation that's set to turn your holiday season upside down. Turn up the volume, my dear friends, and let your curiosity run wild as we unveil the most sought after secrets of your favorite celebrities and explore how CO2 Lift is rewriting the rule book in the skincare industry. Welcoming now to the show are the beautiful and talented Sharlena Hassani and Lana Kerr. Welcome to the show, stunners.
Oh, it's good to be here. Hi there.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Thank you so much for being here, ladies. Welcome to another incredible Going Deep segment. Lana, thank you so much for coming back on. So you're a skincare industry trailblazer and founder of CO2 Lift. Can you tell us about the latest holiday skincare trends and products that people should be looking out for this season?
You know, I think when you read a lot of the blogs, you read a lot of, the magazines, what they're talking about, hydration is a big thing, especially, the winter is here. It can be hard on our skin. So you definitely want to look for products that are going to hydrate your skin. I like mists as well. That's going to keep, throughout the day that you can keep hydrating your skin. I think that is a trend for the holiday season. Shar, would you agree with me on that?
Yes, definitely.
So, of course, when you talk about hydration with the skin, there's products out there that I want to draw attention to. So we'll talk about carboxy therapy. I know, Sharlena, you're a big fan. It has many proprietary uses. Of course, with this non-invasive procedure involving the therapeutic use of carbon dioxide for skin rejuvenation, I say it's on the top of my list. I personally have seen incredible results when I use it. And just for a little bit of back history, and I'll let you, take the stage here. But I know that when you're talking about non-invasive and natural products, in this particular case, when infused into the skin, CO2 immediately diffuses at the cutaneous and muscular microcirculatory levels. And this, my friends, results in higher tissue oxygenation and neoangiogenesis. And it's science. The blood vessels widen. It increases the transport of oxygen body tissues for cellular regeneration and anti-inflammatory effects. And it's a treatment that, for the reason that I love it the most, it's been around since the 1930s, but now the method of delivery has improved. And it's called CO2 Lift. Sharlena, tell me why you love this product so much.
I mean, the CO2 mask has been an absolute game changer for me in my treatments and for my celebrity clients, because it just gives that dramatic result that you're looking for in lifting, tightening, the glow. It eliminates redness, those pesky little red veins that you get gone. It's just the perfect treatment before any event, holiday, shoot, being on camera, anything like that.
And it's non-invasive. Now, what are your pro tips for achieving that holiday glow without the need for heavy makeup?
Yes. Well, first things first, prepping the skin. I'm the exfoliation queen. I love prepping the skin using glycolic to just really dissolve that top layer of dead and dull skin, clean out the pores, and then going in with a boost of hydration. The CO2 Lift Pro after a glycolic peel is just the most incredible treatment for that ultimate glow.
And, of course, filters are great, but great skin is better. I always tell people, and your skin is 90% of your selfie. So for those of you that trend on social media, beauty is in the skin and glowing skin is always in. Exactly. Right. Now, Lana, what role does holiday nutrition and hydration play in maintaining healthy and radiant skin? And do you have any dietary tips to complement a skincare regimen during the season?
Well, as you you know that I have a background in nutrition with weight loss clinics. Usually it's funny, this is a time of the year that many people start dieting because they're going out so much. I mean, I don't generally recommend that. It's definitely more difficult because, again, of all the holiday parties that people are attending. But I would say that one thing that you definitely want to incorporate, especially now, is drinking a lot of water. I believe in a gallon a day is always the recommendation, but especially now in the winter time, it's going to help to keep you feeling good, because especially people drink a lot more during this time of the year. So water would be a definite thing that you would want to do. Also, just to limit, if you can, the amount of alcohol that you're consuming. We talk about 1 to 2 glasses at a for the day.
Right. Yes. That's the recommendation. 1 to 2 glasses for the day. That's what they're saying. We all know that most people are far exceeding that. So you're right to put out that warning, because eventually that extra consumption of alcohol, even for the most fit and thinnest person, will elevate your blood pressure. It will start to have those inflammatory effects, and you don't want to be doing that and feeling sluggish during the holidays. Now, Sharlena, for individuals with different skin types, it can be challenging to find the right skincare products. What advice do you have for tailoring skincare routines for specific skin types during the holiday season?
The world of skincare is very confusing and challenging. So it's important to work with a good skincare professional to really get a recommendation that is tailored to your skin and your skincare goals. For example, I have my set skincare that I use through the year, and then I have certain things that I bring in during the holidays. Hydration is everything during the winter season. So the CO2 Lift mask is all in my treatments. All my clients are doing this series after, you do it 1 week apart, and then the results compound on each other. And then so they're starting it 3 weeks before the holiday, so that by the holiday, their skin is nice, plump, and dewy. I always tell my clients the difference between a raisin and a grape is hydration. That's why I always inside and outside hydration in order to stay plump, dewy, and glowy.
That's great advice. And I know that on the CO2Lift.com website, they have some holiday packages and starter kits and seasonal kits, if you will. And now they also have an interesting product, the CO2 Lift V for vaginal rejuvenation. How do you feel about the skin down there, Sharlena?
I say, all skin is aging. Our skin down there is aging as well. So if you want to be preventative on your face as well as down there, I want to be preventative everywhere. I take care of my skin head to toe, and I'm very big on preventative care everywhere to all my clients. And starting young is, key. You don't want to wait till there's an issue. And even if you do, the CO2 mask is that powerful that you can actually reverse any issues that are down there, but you can also prevent.
Yeah, without a doubt. And beautiful skin and healthy skin requires commitment, not a miracle. And I think people overthink this. Now, Lana, CO2Lift.com is known for its innovative skincare solutions. So could you share some insights into any unique products or treatments that are perfect for rejuvenating the skin before these holiday events or parties we're talking about?
So, Sharlena brought out the CO2 Lift mask, which is, the last study that we did shows that after 6 treatments, elasticity increases 26% in the skin, which is important for that thick, bouncy skin. So that's definitely something that I would recommend. But I think one of the things that is not really featured a lot is the Carboxy mousse. We talk about, hydration, moisturizing, especially during winter months. The Carboxy mousse is phenomenal for that because of the fact that it also has CO2 gas in the skin. So all those great peptides, ceramides that are in there, the glycolic that's in there that Sharlena talked about, you're putting it in and then you're fusing it into the skin with CO2. And I read an article in a WOR magazine, actually was in February, was it this February? It talked about how more and more companies are looking to put CO2 into their products because it's going to help with absorption. So we have the Carboxy mousse is perfect for that. So that's something that someone we want to grab onto. It is great, for skin tags, for really anything that's pesky on the skin. It's something to carry in your bag for sure.
Okay, we're definitely going to check out that mousse. Now, Sharlena, many people struggle with the effects of stress during the holiday season. I'm right there at the front of the line. How can proper skincare and self-care routines help manage stress-related skin issues like breakouts and redness?
Well, first of all, doing skincare is like a little ritual in self-love, self-care. It's a moment to be present with yourself and de-stress. The CO2 lift mask has to be on for an hour, so I use that time to actually kind of like either meditate or be present with myself, read. And so that's one way to de-stress. Another way is also to just to maintain acne is to use a benzoyl peroxide. But yeah, the CO2 lift mask really is anti-inflammatory. It calms everything down. Acne gets inflamed and irritated and red. And if you've had acne, I've had acne myself, it's really uncomfortable. So doing a CO2 lift mask really calms everything down, eliminates that redness, and it's the perfect thing to just calm yourself down and have that moment to yourself and self-care.
Love it that you're loving the CO2 lift as much as I do. Now, finally, as we approach the holidays, Lana, what are your personal favorite holiday skincare tips or products that you personally can't live without? And can you offer advice on how to choose the best skincare gifts for this holiday season?
Well, it's almost self-serving because I live by the products that we have. The CO2 mask is something that I definitely would encourage anyone to try. It's something that I use. It has definitely changed my skin. My skin back when I was in my 40s is certainly a different skin now in my 50s. It looks better now, and it's because of the CO2 lift. But I think that, so I love the whole line, the Defend, which is the HA with apple stem cell, the Glow, which is another product, which is a facial oil, which I love. So I use the
I
whole
love
line.
that.
So one of the products that I love, we don't carry it. It's the New Me Skin Mist. A product has glutathione in there, so it's a great antioxidant, but it's something that you can spritz on throughout the day, and it keeps your skin refreshed as well.
Sharlena, many people now, struggle with the effects of stress during the holiday season. So, to Lana's point, I think that the CO2 lift mask, and to your analogy on how you pair it with self-care time, that hit really close to home. So that's definitely something I'm going to prioritize. But as we approach the holidays, what are your personal favorite holiday skincare tips or products that you can't live without? And I would love to hear your advice on how to go about choosing that best skincare gift for the season.
Yeah, well, choosing a skincare product for the holiday season can be tricky because a lot of skincare out there people can react to. There's a lot of irritating ingredients. The CO2 Lift Pro is definitely a really safe gift that you can give to anyone, any skin type, no matter how sensitive. So that's always number one. And number two, we're going to be posting a lot of fun holiday gift guides and ideas on our favorite professionally vetted products. So you can check that out. But other than that, I recommend finding a skincare professional in your area that carries the CO2 Lift Pro, and then you're guaranteed to be happy and make someone else happy with that gift. It's just a really safe product. I've worked with a lot of masks and a lot of products. That's the only thing that I would say you can give to literally anyone, and I promise they will have an amazing result with no irritation.
Well, you have me convinced. Ladies, we are out of time. Thank you so much for coming on and joining us today. It was such a pleasure chatting with both of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Shar. Thank you, Zen.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
That was our Going Deep segment brought to you by CO2 Lift. You can head directly to CO2Lift.com. Tons of great holiday ideas, and you can check them out on the gram at CO2 Lift. Also, do check out and follow the amazing Lana Kerr at the Lana Kerr with 2 R's. And of course, let's not forget the incredible Sharlena Hassani, owner and founding esthetician of Artisan of Skin. You could head directly to their website at artisanofskin.com or at Sharlena Hassani on the gram and at Artisan of Skin. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by CO2 Lift. As we age, our skin loses moisture and elasticity, causing wrinkled skin. You can reverse this aging process with CO2 Lift. CO2 Lift utilizes the powerful benefits of carbon dioxide to lift, tighten, and regenerate your skin. This simple, painless at-home Carboxy therapy treatment is scientifically proven to reverse the aging process. You will see reduction in wrinkles, increase in luminosity, and improve pigmentation, sagging, skin tone, and radiance. For more information or to order CO2 Lift, go to CO2Lift.com.
Well, that's a wrap, my dear friends. Remember to join me right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, every Saturday night from 9 to 10 p.m. Or you could head to 710WOR.iHeart.com/A Moment of Zen. Also, remember that we're live on Traverse TV Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern. We're also live on YouTube Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern. And all episodes are available on Kathy Ireland's Your Home TV streaming platform. You could head directly to our channel at mox.yourhometv.com. It's free programming to you. Thank you for listening to A Moment of Zen. It's been an absolute pleasure being your host. Thanks again to all of our sponsors that continue to make this show possible. And remember that happiness is the only thing that multiplies when you share it. We'll see you next week.